Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Murray, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of The Gift of Giving. For those of you tuning in for the first time, this program focuses on nonprofits, 501c3s, and foundations based right here in the state of Nevada. These are the individuals and organizations who are giving back to our community and making it a better and brighter place. This week, we have a guest who represents an incredible organization that assists our first responders, our Men and Women in Blue. I'd like to welcome to the program Randy Sutton.
It's a pleasure to be here.
He's the founder and chairman of the board of the Wounded Blue. So thanks for coming and spending time with us.
It's my pleasure.
And before we get into the details of the Wounded Blue, would you like to give us a little tell us a little bit about how many years you were in the service?
Sure. I spent my entire adult life in the service of law enforcement. I began at the ripe old age of 19.
Oh, my.
I became a police officer in the small community of Princeton, New Jersey, where the university is. And that was my hometown. And I literally started as a cadet when I was 17. When I became 19, I tested and became a full-time police officer, went through the New Jersey State Police Academy and began my police career. And I did 10 years in the community of Princeton. I did 6 years as a patrolman and 4 years as a detective. And I was literally halfway to retirement, but I didn't feel challenged in a small community. So I did some research. And I decided that I was going to go to Las Vegas and join the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Started my career all over again, went through the academy again, and became a police officer here and did 24 years with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police, retiring as a police lieutenant.
Wow. Well, of all the cities in the United States, you said Princeton wasn't big enough. You wanted a bigger city.
Right.
When you moved here, Las Vegas wasn't as big as it is now. I mean, it's certainly grown recently. What made you pick Las Vegas?
So I did a lot of research because I only had one move in me. And I had actually heard from 2 FBI agents that I worked with that had been assigned out here what a great police department it was. And how it was, and the city was growing. And which it certainly was. I moved here, in 1986, and the town was only 500,000 people then.
Yes.
But 5,000 people a month were moving in, and did so for years.
Yes.
So I grew with the town.
Cool. Okay. So now,
and by the way, I really liked Las Vegas back then.
Oh yeah,
it was a lot of fun to live here back then.
Hopefully you still like it.
I still do. I'm still here.
Well, not only were you active in law enforcement, but you've also written a variety of books as it relates to law enforcement.
Yes,
including a biography.
Well,
and you've also come out with a brand new book.
Rescuing 911: The Fight for America's Safety.
There you go.
That is my latest book.
Okay. Now, are all these books available on Amazon.com?
They are all except for my first one, which is not in print any longer.
Okay.
But I never intended to be a writer. That was not the only thing I ever intended to do was become a cop. Everything else, being an actor, being in the movies and writing books, that's not something I planned to do, but it just fell my way.
Okay.
The first book that I wrote was called True Blue: Police Stories by Those Who Have Lived Them. And what had happened was I had a life-changing experience when I was a patrol officer, and I saved the life of a 1-month-old baby who'd been shot in the face during a drive-by shooting. And then that night I went home and I wrote this story called Her Name Was Jackie. And not because I had plans to do anything with it, just felt cathartic to do. So I went home, I wrote this story, and I stuck it in a drawer. Well, in 2001, we had the greatest law enforcement death toll in American history when the Twin Towers were attacked.
Yes.
And I felt like I needed to do something to support those officers' families. And I remembered that story that was sitting in that drawer. And I thought to myself, every cop I know has a story like that. I'm going to ask them to write that story. And I'm going to put them in a book. And then I'm going to donate all the royalties to the Widows and Orphans Fund for the cops who were killed.
Gotcha.
And that's exactly what I did. And that book wound up selling very well. And the editor-in-chief at St. Martin's Press, who published it, came to me and said, I want you to write the stories from your own career. And that became A Cop's Life, which is still selling today, to this day.
Well, and I'm assuming all your books, we'll give out the website information of the Wounded Blue later on, and I'm assuming that all your books are listed there as well.
Actually, they're not.
They're not?
No.
Okay.
But they're all on Amazon.
Okay. So if they did a Google search on Randy Sutton, the author,
there's a lot of stuff that's going to pop up.
Okay. All righty. So now, could you please share the history and the mission of the Wounded Blue?
Yes.
So our viewers know what it's all about.
Sure. The mission of the Wounded Blue is to improve the lives of injured and disabled officers through support, education, assistance, and legislation. Mm-hmm. We call that our holistic approach. Mm-hmm. Our main focus is to provide peer support for officers who are injured either physically or emotionally and psychologically. And I can tell you very clearly that the number of officers that we deal with who've been injured psychologically and emotionally is more than those who have been affected physically. Right. Although sometimes there's a deep correlation between the two.
Yes.
But it's astounding the number of officers who are injured each year. But I'm going to throw just one statistic at you. That last year, more than 80,000 American law enforcement officers were physically assaulted in the line of duty. Oh, they were shot, they were stabbed, they were beaten, they were hit with bricks, and many of those left devastating injuries. Every single day now in America, average a police officer is shot every single day. Wow. It's astounding, the violence towards law enforcement. So then you add the psychological and the traumatic injuries that occur from post-traumatic stress, and it is a monumental task. The odd number of officers who are physically and psychologically injured is astronomical. This leads to suicide. We have a terrible suicide rate. It leads to the loss of careers, marriages, lives. And so with the Wounded Blue, our mission is to touch the lives of these men and women, help bring them back to a sense of normalcy, a sense of health, physical and emotional, to assist when they are at their lowest points. Because you see, many people don't realize, because they've never been exposed to it, but many law enforcement officers, once they're injured, are literally disposed of. They're thrown away like trash by the very cities and states and counties that they have sacrificed for. And it is one of the deepest, darkest secrets in law enforcement that you can be literally shot in the line of duty and be thrown away, not being able to feed yourself and your family in certain places.
Wow. And
we these men and women feel very alone. In fact, our motto is never forgotten, never alone. That's what we live by. Because and my entire team is made up of cops who have been shot and stabbed and beaten, run over and hit with bricks. And I mean, I have officers who've been blinded, officers in wheelchairs, officers who have faced serious traumatic injury and come out on the other side. And they continue to serve in amazing ways. And they're all volunteers. Wow. I take no salary. I live on my pension from the police. And we put what we have. I have one paid employee. That's it. And everybody else is a volunteer.
Yeah, well, we're going to go into volunteers and opportunities later. And your SEAL program, your support, education, assistance, and legislative, we're going to get into that in the second segment. Interesting mission, though. And as the founder, what prompted you to initiate this program?
Because my career ended in the gutter on Las Vegas Boulevard and Flamingo. I suffered a stroke in my police car.
Oh, wow.
2:30 in the morning.
Very sorry to hear that.
And it was the most frightening thing that ever happened to me. Luckily, I had a partner with me. I was a lieutenant. And we were driving down Las Vegas Boulevard. I literally felt my brain slowing down and stopped the police car and said to this young officer who was with me, I said, "Get me medical. I'm having a stroke." And I got out of the car to go around to the passenger side in case he needed to get me to the hospital, and started speaking gibberish, and then lost the ability to speak and move altogether and crumpled to the pavement. And I was laying there completely helpless.
Wow.
And tourists are walking by me taking my picture.
Oh, boy.
And I'll never forget that night. It was the life-altering experience that ended my police career, almost ended my life. And then, because I was the most featured officer on the TV show Cops, I was in the movies like Movie Casino and Fools Rush In and a number of others. And because I was an author and because I was a national police trainer, cops started reaching out to me. Not because I could do anything, but only because I was visible in the law enforcement community. "Randy, I know you don't know me, but I was shot in the line of duty, and my chief never even visited me in the hospital. They've abandoned me. Randy, I was paralyzed when my police car was hit by a drunk. They've thrown me away." And from different parts of the country, not because I could do anything, but only because they knew who I was. And I realized that this is a national issue. This is a national tragedy. And there was no national resource for these men and women. And that's why I created the Wounded Blue. And we've helped more than 16,000 police officers in the last 6 years.
Well, it's amazing that you turned a personal tragedy into something very positive for the men and women in blue. And you mentioned it's national. And I did notice on your website that you have an awards program, and we'll talk about that later too. But you give awards to different places in different states.
Yes.
Do you have chapters in different states?
No, we have no chapters. We're national. I have people in different states, people who are part of my peer support team, but we do travel nationally. In fact, I just got back 3 days ago from Nashville, Tennessee, where we had a fundraising event with country music stars like Vince Gill and Mark Wills and Daryl Worley. I mean, a whole bunch of amazing country music stars who did a benefit for the Wounded Blue. Okay. But we also did something very special there. We recognized two officers from the Louisville, Kentucky Police Department. One with what we call the Order of the Blue Heart Award, which is the Purple Heart for the police, and the other, he was ambushed and shot by a rifle round, which went through his ballistic armor and did a lot of damage to him. And then his partner saved his life by dragging him to safety through gunfire. So we provided publicly. We gave one officer the Order of the Blue Heart, and the other the Founders Award for Valor. And so that was an amazing part of the presentation that we did in Nashville.
Yeah. That's cool story. You've got lots of amazing personal stories and experiences to tell. Let's take a little sponsorship break, and we'll come back and discuss your SEAL strategy and the other therapy programs that you've got. Please stay with us, folks. We're going to be right back.
Tariffs, pandemics, rising inflation. The Joshua Dowden team is ready when volatility happens. Markets fluctuate for reasons nobody can control. Don't let the headlines drive your financial plan. The Joshua Dowden team at Priority Wealth Partners has served Summerlin retirees for 3 decades. Our 5-tier risk management strategy matches our strategies with your goals, with plans designed for your assets to be there when you need them. Conveniently located at the heart of downtown Summerlin. Call Joshua Dowden today or visit DowdenFinancialServices.com.
Welcome back, everyone, and I'd like to welcome back our special guest today, Randy Sutton, founder and chairman of the board of the Wounded Blue. And during the commercial break, you were telling me that this started in 2018, so you've been going 7 years now. You really have accomplished a lot in the 7 years you've been going. And just before we get to the SEAL strategy program, one of the main aspects is the training program, empowering injured and disabled officers, and the power of peer support, and Dr. Kevin Gilmartin's emotional support for law enforcement. Do you want to talk a little bit about those before we get into the SEAL?
Sure. So one of the things that is so critically important to the people that I work with is the emotional survival. You know, when we talk about emotional survival, psychological survival, right? How do you go through a career 25, 30, 35 years of seeing some of the worst that humanity can do to each other? The death, the violence, the cruelty. Police officers face a steady diet of that. They literally see the worst part of the human experience. And when you're exposed to that for years and years and years, it has a tremendous effect on your emotional health, your mental health, your physical health. So one of the things that we find very critical is educational, and that includes emotional survival. Now, Kevin Gilmartin wrote what I call the Bible for law enforcement. It's a book called Emotional Survival for Law Enforcement. Kevin was a career law enforcement officer and recognized, then he became a psychologist and wrote the book that almost, if every police officer should read one book in their career, it is this book. And he is literally the godfather of changing the entire paradigm on thinking about emotional support. He was a pioneer, and to this day, he's still one of the best presenters I've ever seen.
Really?
So we've adopted much of what he has put forth out there in our training programs.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that is critical, is not only preparing new officers to understand what they're going to go through, but for veteran officers to learn to deal with what they have gone through.
Yes. Wow. That's no small undertaking.
It is no small undertaking.
So in your SEAL program, the first thing is the support. What kind of support would you like to elaborate a little bit on?
Sure.
The support aspect of what?
Yes, our number one mission is to provide peer support for injured and disabled officers. What does that mean? My entire team is made up of cops who have experienced severe trauma, either physical or emotional. I have police officers who've been shot and stabbed and beaten, run over, and yet they continue to serve their brothers and sisters because they understand what they are going through. When you get hurt in the line of duty, for me, I never ever thought I could possibly be treated the way I was. If I had known someone who had gone through what I was going through and realized that I wasn't alone, it would have made a vast difference in my own emotional and mental stability, because I felt so entirely alone. That's why Never Forgotten, Never Alone is so important to us. So that's our number one mission. But we provide support in other ways. We've had some incredibly meaningful wins. In fact, one that I'm going to tell you about, which just occurred. There was an officer who came to us who was severely injured in the line of duty during when he was attacked by a suspect. And during the fight, he fell back and his spine hit the curb. And he lost all sensation from the waist down.
Oh boy.
He was only 36 years old, in top physical condition. But because of that injury, they took him to the hospital. He was in a rural area of Texas. and they said, you need spinal surgery, but we don't have a surgeon that has the skill to do it. So instead of airlifting him or taking him by ambulance to the nearest major city, which would be Dallas, they just sent him home. And when that happened, the workers' comp system said, well, if they sent you home, you don't need surgery. And they blew him off. And now he became chronically injured. What could have been fixed immediately became a disabling injury. They didn't treat him. He had to go to court to get them to give him the treatment. And by that time, the damage was done. And then 21 surgeries later, botched surgeries, because they gave him substandard medical care, he was told he would never walk again. He's 40 years old. He's got a wife. He's got a young woman who's about to be married as his daughter. He's got a young son who's 7 years old, who's never been able to play with his father. Well, he came across us, and I have an angel donor. And this is an almost unbelievable story. I've never met this man, and yet he and I have talked hundreds of times. He told me about a doctor that he knew that was one of the finest spinal surgeons in the nation. And we sent this officer who'd been told, in fact, we bought him a wheelchair because he was told he would never walk again. This doctor in Washington, D.C., did 3 surgeries on him within 30 days. And last month, he danced with his daughter at her wedding.
Oh, wow.
His life has
That's a beautiful
changed.
Story.
And we paid $300,000 to get that proper surgery done that they did not give him. And they could have 7 years ago. Meanwhile, his entire life was almost destroyed, and his department fired him because he couldn't come back to work.
Wow.
This is what the Wounded Blue does. We bring awareness. Your viewers are listening to this right now going, wait a minute, how can that even be possible? And that is happening across the country. And we have to fight that. We have to bring justice to these men and women, and we fight that, and that's what support and education and assistance and legislation looks like. But I want to talk about education because it's so important.
Yes,
Each
go
year,
ahead.
and this what I'm going to tell you right now is because of this community and because of an incredible donor I have right here. Guy Martin from Martin Harris Construction, one of the largest construction companies in Nevada, is an angel to us. Here's what he has done. I went to Guy Martin. He is a true supporter of Metro and the law enforcement community here. Has been for years. His brother-in-law actually worked for me as a cop. And when I went to go see Guy Martin, when I was first starting the charity, I went to him and I said, here's what my idea is. I told him all about the Wounded Blue, and he said, I really admire that. But let me ask you something, Randy. He says, if you could create a way for police officers either not to get injured in the first place or learn to deal with those injuries beforehand, what would that look like? And I said, well, it's funny you should ask, because one of my dreams is to have a all-encompassing conference that would prepare officers. And I call it the National Law Enforcement Survival Summit. And he said, that's more like it. He said, what do you think that would cost? And I tell you the truth, I was stupid and I didn't really know. And I just made up a figure, and he says, make it happen. And as a result of that, since the inception of the Wounded Blue and the first National Survival Summit, we just had the 5th one here in Las Vegas. That was incredible, and Guy Martin is the #1 supporter of that and has been since the day we started.
Wow.
And that shows you first of all, when somebody who truly cares about their community and a business like Martin Harris Construction says, we're going to support this. We've literally saved lives at this conference because of Martin Harris Construction.
Wow. Well, let's hear it for Guy Martin Harris Construction.
Martin Harris Construction, yeah.
Well,
huge supporters of the Wounded Blue.
Certainly thank him for what he's doing for the Wounded Blue. We're going to take another brief sponsorship break. Please stay with us, folks. We're going to be right back.
Introducing Pacific Coast Capital, your partner in finance. We provide financing for your business. Speed, flexibility, and creativity are the foundation of our service. We'll help you navigate through change and opportunities. Our 90-plus years of experience ensures quick turnaround on loan decisions. Ride the wave to prosperity with us. Ready for new funding? Visit our website today at pacificcoastcap.com.
Country roads take me home to the place where I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Here comes a triple yodel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And I'd certainly like to welcome back our guest today, Randy Sutton, founder of the Wounded Blue. And it sounds like you're really making a difference for those who have been wounded, our men and women in blue who have been wounded. And the community certainly thanks you for that. The assistance that you give, is it one-on-one support that you give?
Yes.
People with PTSD? Do you have licensed therapists, or when you mentioned earlier about peer support? So are these, is it a combination of both who are giving the one-on-one assistance?
So it all depends on the needs. Everybody's journey is different.
Yes, of course.
When you become injured, some just need a voice. They need somebody to talk to. They need somebody that has walked in their shoes, so to speak.
Yes.
And that's enough. But we're literally, some of my peers have been talking to individuals for years. They're friends now.
Yes.
They become bonded.
Yeah.
Others need more. Others need, they need a psychologist. They need a professional, or they need some other type of therapeutic assistance. And we have tremendous resources. You know, since in the 7-8 years that we've been active, we've developed relationships with culturally competent psychologists around the country. So we can refer people, or if it's, for instance, there are some amazing charitable organizations out there that we partner with that have one-of-a-kind therapeutic treatments.
Yes.
And sometimes they're not even therapy per se, but they are programs that can take people and literally help them heal. Yes. So I can talk to a guy, you know what, this program would really be good for you. Let's see if we can't get you in. Or in some cases, they need inpatient treatment. Yes. Addiction plays a huge role when you're talking about post-traumatic stress and physical injury. So we have a lot of resources with people and treatment facilities that we have vetted that we know are legitimate, because there's a lot of scammers out there, and we make sure that people are vetted before we refer them.
Good. And do you actually do the vetting yourself?
Yes. I have it myself and my team.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's like
I have a clinical director as well that I count on for guidance.
Uh-huh.
And he is a former police officer who has a double doctorate, and he knows everybody in the community.
Gotcha. I'd like to talk a little bit about the awards program. You have an awards program and you dish out awards. How many do you dish out? What kind of awards are they?
Mm-hmm.
I know in a conversation we had, I think you were giving out an award to somebody in Arizona.
No,
I thought it was Arizona.
Nashville.
Oh,
Nashville. We just gave the Order of the Blue Heart. So we have
Nashville,
two
but
major
when we were
awards.
talking about a month ago, you were in Arizona and you called me from Arizona.
Oh, that was another one.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So you have different awards, different.
Right. Our award, we have two major awards. The one is the Order of the Blue Heart, and that is the Purple Heart for the police.
Sure.
Because here's another reality that most people are going to hear and go, wait a minute, how is that possible? Many of the police officers who become severely injured or disabled in the line of duty, their injuries are never even acknowledged by their agency. They're just forgotten. They're thrown away. And that leads to a deep psychological trauma. So we, in order to right that wrong, we have created the Order of the Blue Heart. And I will literally fly across the country and I'll give that award to that officer in front of his family, coworkers, whoever he wants it to be. And that alone is very healing.
Yes.
To many of these men. When I literally just got back from Nebraska, where a police officer who was catastrophically injured when he was attacked had severe brain trauma. It has to relearn his entire life. I went to his rehab facility, and his whole family flew up from Missouri, and every doctor in the hospital was there, and we presented him with the Order of the Blue Heart, and I can't tell you the emotion that was in that room.
Oh, I can't believe it.
But and one of my peer support team lives in the same town where he's in the hospital and is now visiting him regularly to help him, assimilate.
Wonderful. Wonderful stories. Wonderful stories. Very uplifting stories. I'd like to talk a little bit about, you've got two other fundraising arms, if you want to call them that, a WB100 Club and a 9/11 campaign.
Right.
Would you like to talk about both those
Absolutely.
programs, the difference and the purpose of them?
So we're a nationwide charity.
Okay.
We get no funding from the government. We get no funding from anyone other than people who care about their cops from all over the country. And here's my belief is that most Americans truly do trust and honor their police. Sometimes it's not a popular thing to say. We've gone through some very, very difficult times, very major challenges with the anti-law enforcement lobby, which comes from a lot of different areas that have denigrated law enforcement, that have dehumanized these men and women who are serving. It's happening right now to this day. We fight that. We fight that by bringing the truth. And I'm a nationwide commentator on law enforcement topics. I do Fox News, Newsmax, CBS, basically every major outlet. I am considered a national law enforcement speaker. And so getting the truth out there is also part of what we do. But the fact of the matter is that we have to raise money. You can't do what we do without funds.
No.
And it's very, very difficult. It's hard raising money. So we've done two things here. We have what we call our TWB 100. I'm asking 100 people to donate $2,500 a year to the Wounded Blue. That pays a lot of our administrative costs. And so I'm asking 100 people to donate $2,500 a year. Either give $2,500 now or do a couple $100 a month. And and for that they get a certain place of honor with us, and they get some pretty cool swag. But we really appreciate that.
Sure.
Then, because not everybody can afford that, a lot of people can't afford that. We just launched our 911 campaign. And our 911 is we are asking people to donate $9.11 a month to the Wounded Blue.
Okay.
And of course, 911, why? Because, well, first of all, when people need help, who do they call? They call 911.
Yes.
But when the police need help, who do they call? And they call the Wounded Blue.
Yes.
So we're asking people to donate $9.11. And the correlation is my latest book is called Rescuing 911, The Fight for America's Safety. And what we're doing is for the first 1,000 people, we literally just launched this. For the first 1,000 people that donate $9.11 a month, they're going to get a signed book. We will mail them a book signed by me to them.
Nice. That's very nice. That's a real nice program. That is a program that a lot of people probably can afford.
I am really
without
hoping.
putting-
I'm really hoping that
coming
we
out
get
too
enough
much.
people to do that. That will give us the opportunity to touch more people's lives.
Yes,
I'm only limited by my resources.
of course. But you also have a store on your website.
Yeah.
So people can go and buy merchandise as well. And what kind of merchandise is it that you have out there?
We have some pretty cool gear. We
Yes.
got the maker of all our gear is a company called Relentless Defender, and they have tremendous quality items and really cool designs. So if you go to thewoundedblue.org and hit that store, you're going to see our T-shirts, our hoodies, our hats, our challenge coins. It's we got some pretty cool stuff, and we're going to be doing an amazing event here locally next month for Cowboy Christmas.
Oh, Cowboy Christmas?
Yeah,
Do you want to give out?
this
Whereabouts is it? And do you have a date and
sure.
time for it?
So Cowboy Christmas for people locals here. A lot of people know about Cowboy Christmas because it coincides with National Finals Rodeo.
Okay.
And it'll be at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And we were gifted a booth there with our partner. We are partners with another nationwide charity called Ponies North.
Okay.
And what they do is they rescue wild Mustangs and then use them for equine therapy for combat veterans and police officers.
Okay.
So we are together with them, and we've been gifted a phenomenal booth right there in the convention center by Cinch Jeans has given this to us. And we're going to have all of our gear there,
Okay.
but also, this is the coolest thing ever. We have a whole bunch of signed guitars by some of the biggest names in country music, like Darryl Worley, like Vince Gill, Mark Wills, John Conley. And we are, during the 10 days of Cowboy Christmas, people are going to be able to bid on these guitars, signed guitars at our either at the booth there or guitarsforheroes.com. That's guitars, the number 4, heroes.com.
And they're also on your website too.
Yes.
So when people go to your website, they'll see the icon. When's the date of this Cowboy?
December 3rd through the 14th.
3rd through 14th.
Cowboy Christmas. And I will be there every single day.
Every day. Okay. A lot of fantastic information. You guys are making a real difference for our wounded men and women in blue. And thank you for that. And I'm sure the community thanks you for it too. Before we leave, if people want to learn more about the organization, can you please give us the website address and contact information?
Yep. So the website for the Wounded Blue is thewoundedblue.org. That's thewoundedblue.org. But if you want to contact me personally, because you want to learn more about who we are from me, or if you want to become a sponsor of this organization, I'm going to give you my personal email. It's randy@thewoundedblue.org. It's randy@thewoundedblue.org. We welcome businesses that want to participate with us, either on a local basis or a national basis. And those that want to contact me personally, because sometimes it's better to get it right from the horse's mouth, right? randy@thewoundedblue.org.
And do you want to give out your telephone number as well?
Oh, our telephone number for any law enforcement officer, who needs help, or if you just want to contact us, it's 833-TWB Talk. 833-TWB Talk. So it's manned 7 days a week, 24/7 by one of my peer support team.
Thank you, Randy, for taking the time out and spending it with us and sharing with us what the Wounded Blue does.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on the program.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank our show's producer and station owner, John Stiles, for allowing us to have this program on his station. I'd especially like to thank our sponsors, Priority Wealth Partners, Pacific Coast Capital, the Firelight Barn, my late business partner, Ralph Champion. You'll see his message right at the end of this program. And I'd also like to thank the Friends of the Gift of Giving. These are the anonymous donors that help keep the program on the air as well. And finally, I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in today. If you can donate, help, support in any way this organization, they would love to hear from you, and it would be greatly appreciated and clearly greatly needed. So please share this program with anyone you know who could also benefit from this organization and their services. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me, Stephen at thegiftofgiving.vegas. And thank you again for joining us this week. Hope you will come back and see us again soon. In the meantime, be safe, be kind to one another. Bye for now.
Mr. R.J. Champion is proud to sponsor WWDBTV's series, The Gift of Giving, and wishes the program much success. Congratulations and gratitude to the featured guests and the organizations they represent. Our community is well served by your tireless efforts to make Nevada a better state for all its residents.